legislature to speak to the motion put forward by my colleague from Cambridge. The motion, with its amendments, deals with the reluctance of the Minister of Energy to release the paperwork regarding the cancelled power plant contracts in Mississauga and Oakville. In response to a point of privilege made by the member from Cambridge on August 27th, the Speaker ruled on September 13th that a prima facie breach of member's privilege has been established after he investigated the reluctance of the Minister to release these documents to the members of this House. The motion by the member from Cambridge is in response to the Speaker's ruling of September 13th and charges that this Liberal minister is in contempt of this House. This unprecedented matter in the modern era has seized the agenda of this House. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the decision to cancel the power plant project in Mississauga was made a year ago in the last 2 weeks of the provincial election. The decision was made by an unnamed political staffer from the Liberal campaign in Mississauga. So said the Finance Minister at the Estimates Committee. This decision was purely political, and this government did it to save Liberal seats. It worked. The Liberals won the local seats they wanted to keep by making this decision. They make no excuses about it. They admit it. The decision to cancel the power plant project in Oakville was made in October of 2010, during the last month of the municipal election. No doubt Liberal-friendly candidates were running for City Council and School Board trustee positions. The gas-fired power plant would have been a top issue for those candidates. I can see that the Oakville decision was to help those Liberal-minded candidates get elected. As sitting government always likes to have friends they can count on at the municipal level. Again, this was part of their strategy to interfere in the electoral process to their advantage using taxpayers' dollars. Unabashedly emboldened by their perceived cleverness, the Liberals have crossed the line one too many times. This takes the cake. Not only is it evidence of corrupt behaviour, but it is a sad testament to what the Liberals are, bereft of all ethics.
The member to withdraw.
I withdraw. At the time of the 2 power plant project contracts and cancellations, the Liberals had a majority government. The decision to sign these contracts was wrong in the first place. The locations were bad to begin with. The rash, simple-minded decision to cancel these contracts was made by a rotting government after years of near absolute power in the legislature. There has been no real checks or balances for years. This minority government situation we find ourselves in now is bringing more transparency. Before the election last October, the government could make a decision unilaterally. Now they can't, and we, Her Majesty's loyal opposition, have tools at our disposal to hold the government to account. The people of Ontario decided to withhold a third majority from this government. They stopped the unfettered reign of the Premier and his team, and it's a good thing they did. This situation brings to mind the 19th century historian and moralist John Emmerich Edward Dahlberg Acton, the first Baron Acton, who studied governments through the ages. He commented on how power left unchecked leads to corruption. Thought processes of omnipotent governors in power for too long become compromised and reprogrammed, recalibrated towards self-interest and self-preservation. A sense of entitlement pervades. His famous saying describes this government perfectly, in my opinion. He said, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely." Hypothetically speaking, how does a corrupt government act? It could start with compromising the electoral process by using public funds for political gain. Then it could try to hide evidence of any self-serving, costly, or biased decision-making.
Hope they're listening.
If its opposition finds proof of evidence, a corrupt government withholds that evidence from an investigating legislative committee. Further, they would withhold this embarrassing information, the paper trail of the deals, until after a double-header by-election. Then, only after the Speaker of the House demands the evidence and threatens contempt charges, a corrupt, compromised government would release the documents of evidence only in part, not in whole. It would be like pulling teeth to try to work with such a government. And more tragically, it would be very, very expensive for the taxpayer. So how much money is the current Liberal?
I would warn the member, because I asked you to withdraw the previous statement, that you're attempting to do the same, slightly indirectly. So I'd warn you as you carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So how much money is the current Liberal government in the hole on these two deals? How much of Ontarians' hard-earned cash has this government wasted this time? How many good programs will the government have to forego because of this waste? It may end up to be billions, but the current price tag for this debacle is $645 million. $195 million
Member for Durham, if you're going to...
and $450 million on the Oakville plant. The Liberals wasted
The member of Durham, if you're not going to keep order and you're not in your seat, it's a double. So I'd ask you to come to order first, and if you want to heckle, you'll have to sit in your own seat. Carry on.
The Liberals wasted at least $645 million on this seat-saving scandal. 4% of our deficit this year is paying these costs. I suggest that the Liberal Party should pay for these politically motivated decisions. The Mississauga decision was even made by a political campaign staff member, not the minister. But it is the minister's responsibility. This government, and more specifically the government's political party, needs to take responsibility for their actions and accept this decision was not made in the interest of Ontarians. The people of Ontario did not receive a benefit. The Ontario Liberal Party did, and so the people should not pay. Literally, paying the price for this ill-advised decision would be the only way to make this right. $645 million needs to be given back to the people of Ontario. Such costs should not be borne by the taxpayer.
Maybe the Worker-Family Coalition could pay.
These are the costs of Liberal election campaign tactics that go too far and cost too much. The costs consist of relocating the plants after substantial construction had occurred, geographic realities of the new sites, as well as contractual penalties. And this is only what we know at this moment. We are still going through the computer scans of 36,000 pages that comprise the file on these two cancelled contracts. Unfortunately, the package of information the Liberal House Leader dropped in our mailbox at lunchtime on Monday contains a lot of paper, but not much ink. 36,000 pages of severely questionable material was submitted by the Government House Leader. It is obvious the file is incomplete.
The audacity to do such things.
Troubling as it is that the government would try yet another stall tactic for us to get through, worse is the insult to the people of Ontario. The Government House Leader knew what he was doing when he sent those partial documents. 10% of the pages are blank, redacted. Letters or presentations that were pertinent to our review are missing. Only their cover letters are included. There are partial emails from senior bureaucrats, but sensitive material has been blanked out. The package doesn't even contain any correspondence by the Minister of Energy when he was in the driver's seat on this deal. No emails, no notes from the Minister, not even any correspondence to or from the Premier. I am bewildered by this. After stonewalling us at committee since May 16th, and after the Speaker's ruling of September 13th, which demanded all pertinent documents be released to the House by September 24th, this Minister of Energy is still playing games. He needed to fully comply with the Speaker's request. He did not. In my opinion, the Minister is in contempt of this House, in contempt of the people of Ontario, and in contempt of our parliamentary democracy. This minister should have resigned his position to clear the air on this issue. He did not. Lack of judgment and an interest in the Premier's job prevented him from making that admirable choice. The Premier has allowed this to go on, and still today he is absent on the issue. Our democratic tradition is the basis of our society. Electing honest representatives to vote on our behalf has long been ingrained in us. It is second nature for us to go to the polls and hope the system will work the way it should, as a cooperative, consultative, honest, decision-making human machine built on trust, acting on our behalf. Goal number 1, protect the public trust. Sadly, our democratic machine has broken down on Ontarians. The public chooses their elected representatives for their honesty, trustworthy compassion, and their willingness to devote themselves to public service. In contrast, the public has long been hoodwinked into believing a facade by the Premier and his pals. The truth becomes clear if one scratches the surface. Willfully, the Liberals have smashed the public trust again and again and again. Members of the public and members of this House deserve better. For democracy to work, transparency is key.
Absolutely.
But by its actions, this government does not believe that transparency is a virtue. It does not believe in oversight and accountability. That oversight and accountability are the cornerstones of good government. For them, truth is a dirty word. Spin is their first thought. Obfuscation comes second, and respect for taxpayers comes last, just below prudent financial management. The government must comply with the requests of the committees of the legislature in a timely manner. They do not have the luxury or discretion to ignore. Questions posed need to be answered. Transparency of decision-making is critical to the essence of government because that is what MPPs are hired to do. Make sound decisions out in the open on behalf of the public.